Hello and welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of your show, The Untold. My name is Daij Al-Hutiri and I'm here always with my colleague Hibel Gahtani. How are you doing?
Well, we're doing great, and hopefully everyone who's watching us is really excited, especially when it comes to presenting to you today's topic, talking more about sport and being really active. So do tell us, Day, how are you with sport?
Well, I'm into sports. I hit the gym 5 days a week and it's one of the coolest things that I ever done, to be honest. And it's very important to be disciplined in this field. And here in Kuwait, we have lots of gyms, so everyone should be motivated. And you get to see them, actually. It's a it gets crowded in the gym, because I guess this is one of the most interesting part that we have as, I don't know, men, but also we have female gyms. But we have power lifters, weightlifters, and today for our topic we're gonna be talking about the most recent one that is is shown here to us in Kuwait, which is called calisthenics. And definitely we're gonna be having coach Mahmoud Nabil to tell us more about calisthenics and his field and his untold story behind being a coach in this sport. So
Yes. Hopefully everyone is really eager to know more about him. To me, it's a tongue-twisting, let's say, word. I
Yes.
cannot, let's say, pronounce it. Like, I was really arguing about it. Is it calisthenic? But I mean, we're going to know more about it with our guests. Stay tuned to this.
welcome back, dear viewers, to the studio. And of course, we would like to welcome coach Mahmoud Nabil with us here today to talk about calisthenics and sport in general. So basically, we're so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you
And
so much.
yes, definitely. And before we get started, just a quick brief about yourself to the camera before we get started.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm Mahmoud. I'm Coach Mahmoud Nabil. I'm 24 years old. I've started this sport at first because I just wanted to get fit, as anyone else. But then it transformed to a passion because when I started the sport, it was like when I saw the first move, which called handstand or he moved, like I thought it was Photoshop because it looks, it's unreal. You never
Yeah.
saw it in your life. Then when I noticed that it's a whole sport, I got very curious about it. That's why I wanted to teach people about it, especially.
And it's a very difficult, actually.
Yeah. So do tell us more about it. Like, what does it really depends on for the ones who are watching us today? Like, they're not, let's say, familiar with the terminology of calisthenics. Like, to
Of
me,
course.
it's like something new to hear about.
My pleasure, of course. So calisthenics, it's a word in Greece which called kalos thanos, which means beauty and strength. And it mainly focuses on the bodyweight exercises. So if you want to, let's say, train push-ups, we'll start with something like knee push-ups or bench push-ups, which is an easier progression. Like in weightlifting, if you want to start with, let's say, shoulder press, we'll start with 5 kg, then we'll go to 10 kg, 20 kg. The same thing with calisthenics, but we will change the exercise. Which exercise will change? It will make the difficulty harder. So it's mainly in body weight, and it has four types of calisthenics. There's the static type, there's the freestyle type, there's the sets and reps, and there's the weighted sets and reps. So
Okay. So I guess it's not that easy, right? So
It's not.
yes, but the easy part of this sport, I guess, you can do it anywhere.
exactly, that's the main part of it. You can do it in street, you can do it in home, you can do it in gym. So a lot of people say, I don't have that much of time to go to the gym. I don't have the time to put my equipment on. You can just do it at home. You just need the dip bars and the pull-up bar, and you're ready to go.
So just a few equipments and you're set.
Exactly. So it's like an investment in yourself, because sport mainly as weightlifting, calisthenics, any other sport, it's not just because of the look, but to look younger at 60, 70, 80, to be able to do that stuff who people in the 30s can do or 20s can do. So yeah,
Yeah, as they say that you are investing in your muscles for the future. It's not
Exactly.
for nowadays, but you go to the gym and practice, or let's say basically you do sport in general to
course.
invest for the future. So, talking more about this type of sport, maybe you'd like to elaborate more. Like, is it for, let's say, weight loss, or is it only for strengthening the muscle itself? Like, what is the purpose for calisthenic?
actually with calisthenics you can do both. You can do it for weight loss, you can do it for aesthetics, or even you can do it with the cool moves that it has. So let's say you're someone, you just want to lose your weight and gain muscles. You can do that with calisthenics, especially with the sets and reps part. Let's say you're someone, no, you want to up your game. You want to go to the handstand, one arm handstand, all that cool stuff. You can do that by the statics. But whatever section you go with the calisthenics, you have to start with the sets and reps, which are the basics. What are the basics of calisthenics, if I may say? They are push-ups, pull-ups, dips, squats, and as a static holder, the plank or the dead hang also. So the plank and the dead hang, you can do it also. These
So-
are all basics.
And how can you progress by just using your body weights? Let's say squat, you mentioned.
Of course. Let's say with the squats, lunges, and calf raises. These are all a package for the whole leg workout. Let's say you want to do the upper body. You can do pull-ups, you can do push-ups, you can do as a section of pull-ups the chin-ups, and you can do the dips as a section of push-ups. So with this also you can train your whole upper body. Let's say you want to do abs, you can do crunches, you can do plank. So for every combined muscle, you can do an exercise for that type of stuff. And with calisthenics, we don't have isolated exercise. They are mostly combined exercises. Let's say with push-ups, you don't work just the chest. You work the chest, front delts, and the triceps. So, yeah.
Or compound exercise. All right. So when it comes to you starting in this sport, there has to be like someone who inspired you. I would say in the very beginning. So who was it, and like, how did it happen?
To be honest with you, I've seen on the internet someone does a human flag. When I first saw it, I thought it was a photoshopped. So I told all my friends that's photoshopped. They told me no, that's a sport called calisthenics. I said really? They told me yes. So I googled it, and yeah, that's a sport. Then I wanted to start the sport. I basically gone to a place called Anjifa Beach. They used to have bars there.
Right.
So I used to work outdoor there. Then I figured out like there are other people who are playing, like people who does handstands, body weight, and yeah.
So this is how you discover it by, let's
you know
say,
what's a
that
human
kind of
flag?
thing. No.
All right. So it's actually when you say hang on a,
Oh, okay.
and you become the flag.
Yeah, like I've seen it, but I never knew that this
That's
is
called
it's
a
called
human
human
flag.
flag. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's very amazing to see that kind of strength actually do, let's say, can somebody actually develop himself or herself to reach to that point? Because in that kind of sense of position, as you just said and mentioned, which resembles a flag, you need a lot of strength, especially when it comes not only to your, let's say, hand, but also to your full body.
Of
To have
course.
that kind of belief in yourself that you can do it. Like that belief is zero here with me. Like if they just tell me to do a push-up, it's like one and then that's it. You know what? I can't, and then I'll just end up having the rubbers that helps me to pull myself, and then that's it. So for this kind of motivation and for this kind of belief to a person to build inside is something very challenging.
Of
And I
course.
do believe that not a lot of people could easily, let's say, get involved in such a sport. So tell us more about that kind of sense in trying to create a trigger, a motivation for a person to actually go and try and believe in yourself that you can, let's say, be the next person to do the flag position.
Of course, as you said, it's all about belief. So, especially about the belief part, it's a step-by-step part, and we have to have a clear goal. Not just with calisthenics, with anything. If we want to achieve something, we have to have a really crystal clear goal.
So you have to set it.
Exactly, because that will take us through the boring stuff, take us through the boring routines. Because let's say everyone wants the goal, but no one wants to go to the step-by-step
The process. They
Yeah.
don't want the process.
Because people will say, like, let's say I want to run every day at 4 a.m. First day, second day, yeah, I'm motivated. But then I was like, oh, let's sleep, let's take a nap. But once you,
Especially when it's winter time, you know?
exactly.
That time of winter, you don't want to leave.
exactly. So once you remember your belief, you remember your goal, you'll say, no, I'll do it anyways, I'll do it anyways, I'll do it anyways. So doing it anyways will take us through anything. That's what helped me with calisthenics, actually. And that's also how I motivate my clients with the sport.
Speaking of clients, how can you approach them, and what age group do you have? Who can actually do calisthenics? Is there like a specific age group? Tell me more.
Actually, the youngest age I've trained was 4 years old.
MashaAllah.
And the oldest age I've trained was 67 years old.
MashaAllah.
So they can both do the sport. But the different approach is with the kids, you have to make things exciting. Even when you talk, you have to be excited. Whatever your day is, you have to be very exciting, because if you're not exciting, people, or sorry, kids will get bored.
That's right.
But with the old ones, you have to be exciting also, but at the same time, you have to have not to have, sorry, to be a role model. Because if you're not a role model, how can you expect your
The clients
people or
the
clients to go with you
Yeah.
or even listen to you?
to
Let's
follow the
say-
plans that you gave them. It's gonna be impossible.
Exactly. Let's say if I tell them you have to be strong and all that stuff, and I'm not strong, how can they say? Why do we follow him?
Right.
So you have to be a leader,
Like
actually.
you do reflect what you actually do, for instance.
Of
The most
course.
important thing is when you are an athlete, you have to resemble as an athlete and to have that kind of, let's say, figure being presented.
Of course.
Have you ever reached to a point where one of your clients, let's say, reached to more a level of, let's say, in this sport that could beat you up? Let's say, for instance, like you're good with, let's say, for instance, let's talk more about the flag figure that you can
Yes.
hold for seconds, but he can hold or she can hold more than your time. Like, did you reach to that kind of sense?
To be honest with you, right now, no. But there is one of my clients. He is very close. He's very, very close in a move called front lever. This guy is really good. Not just with his base, his discipline. He's very, very disciplined. Like some of the clients, let's say they train just for 3 times a week, and that's it. And that's the required. But that guy always asks, what is this muscle? How do I activate this?
Right.
How do I get better than this? Is there something at home which I can do? And I
Yes.
try to guide them as much as I can, and he's progressing a lot.
Wow.
And I'm actually proud of him. I
Oh.
want him to be better than me, because I'm not like, no, I don't want to be. or
Let's say you
sorry,
don't want someone to reach above, but
Exactly.
you want to be a sportive that you can
Exactly.
actually live to
Exactly.
a better level.
Do you
Because-
actually have like a success story of one of the clients, or that's the one?
That's the one. He's called actually Salman Karam. I
Shout out
told
to
him about it.
Salman. Shout out to you.
So he's really working hard, and I hope you, Salman, to be better than me, actually. Yeah.
Well, that's really beautiful to be said. And to have that kind of belief and trust with the client is very important, because, as you just said, it's very important for you to resemble the sport that you are presenting in that kind of sense. So I do believe that it's very important to have that kind of, let's say, relationship in that matter of sense to be actually built.
Yeah, so I've been wondering now. It's like, how long have you been in this sport? 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
But in
Almost.
Kuwait, have we heard about calisthenics maybe recently, like 2 years ago,
True.
maybe let's say 1 to 2 years ago. What brought the sport here to us? What do you think?
I'll tell you honestly, when I started the sport, when people came to me to train, they just wanted, I want a fitness coach. I train calisthenics. What is calisthenics? I'll have to explain that to them. But recently, let's say 21, 22, because lots of calisthenics athletes are coming up, lots of gyms are coming up, lots of competitions are coming up, shows are coming up. That's what brought the sport more popular. And I think it will be more and more popular in the future.
Yeah, because Kuwait, in here we have lots of gyms, right?
Right.
Lots
Exactly.
of bodybuilders,
A lot.
and also power lifters. This is also a new thing. And I guess the last update we have here is
Exactly.
the calisthenics.
True,
And also, I guess people like it because of the name,
true.
right?
It is unique. It's kind of unique, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Especially with the name, too.
To me, I have really, let's say, more of a tongue twist
It's a little bit-
disability with it, like calisthenics.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a little
I'm
bit-
trying to,
I was
yeah.
talking to him previously before we start recording. It's a little bit difficult to pronounce, but it takes such few
takes
few
time.
times. Yeah,
As I told
You're
you,
like in a pro level, both of you. Like, to me, it's like calisthenic. Like, I'm trying to reach it. Yeah.
No problem. When I heard it the first time, it took me 3 months to pronounce it right. So,
look, that's the coach.
yes.
But it's just
yeah.
a word after all. So
Yeah.
basically,
Exactly.
So what kind of key benefits we can get from calisthenics other than better shape? I would say.
Let's say not just better shape, not just discipline, not just being fit, having
These
that
three
cool
things.
moves.
Cool moves.
Cool moves, like when you do, let's say, when you're abroad, let's say Europe or Turkey or whatever, when you do, let's say, a handstand or a human flag, it looks so cool. People clap to you. So it gives you also confidence with
Right.
calisthenics. At least that's what gave me.
Lots of cool things, and I can't wait to get to know more about the sport. But first, let's take this really quick break before we get back to you, dear viewers.
Of course.
And we're back, dear viewers, to continue with our guest talking more about calisthenics. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes into practicing the sport, I'm very sure that you've been familiar with different kind of previous sport before finding calisthenics
passion for
itself. Yeah.
calisthenics.
Of
So do tell
course.
us more about that. Tell us more about the beginning when you discovered yourself longing towards this, let's say, sport itself. In the early beginnings, like what was your favorite sport? What did you do before calisthenics?
In the early beginnings, I used to like parkour. I've done that for 6 months.
Okay.
Then I transferred to calisthenics.
It makes sense now, right?
Yeah.
So parkour have some moves. I know some people from. We had like a team in Kuwait,
Yes.
PK Jaguars, I think. Or
PK
something.
Jaguars, yes.
So that was in 2010, I guess. I had friends. They were in this club or
In the
team.
field.
Yeah, and yes. So basically, they all of them do handstands,
Wow.
the human flag,
Yeah.
and they have this ball. They put it in like at one of the beaches. They insert the jumping ball, whatever they call it. I'm not quite
Yes.
sure, and they jump and do backflips, front flips, and
Wow.
so it was. But it was dangerous, I would say.
Of course, yes.
It's risky,
It
but
is
it's
a
beautiful.
dangerous sport,
So I guess it's similar to calisthenics. That's why you
It's-
jumped from here to there.
Exactly. Like with calisthenics, what I liked about it, it's, let's say, less dangerous, and you decide what danger do you want to do. Like, let's say if I do a handstand on the floor, that's fine. If I do it,
The
let's say,
flips are dangerous. This is what I meant.
the flips are dangerous, but that's what you have to do if you like the sport. Like, let's say with the calisthenics freestyle part, it's all about flips, all about flips all over the bar. So that's something like, it's similar to parkour, but it's not like parkour because you just do it in the straight bar. So for the people who do these kind of dangerous sports, I think they like it more to make it easy to just go to through the danger.
Yeah, and they make it nervous for us.
Yeah, for the one who watch.
If you was watching, see it.
course.
So when I said the flips, they are dangerous, but when it comes, this is I guess the beginner level of parkour. Have you seen the ones on social media where people have
course.
the cameras on them?
Yeah.
Jump over
And
the
then
building. and
jump
all that
over
stuff.
buildings.
Yeah.
This is a big no. Whenever I see these videos, I sweat.
Goosebumps.
Yeah. It's like you're feeling like you're in the movie
Please
itself.
don't fall.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I don't want to witness something that could actually lead to an injury. But I mean, this is a kind of, let's say, more of a, let's say, a rush. It gives a rush to a human, which is a
Adrenaline rush,
positive
yes.
rush.
Of
And I do believe this is what a person could actually do if someone stole your phone, for instance. You are going to run behind
Oh,
him
yes.
and you're going to jump from a building to building just to grab your phone again. So I do believe that this kind of, let's say, sense of sport is something very beautiful to
course.
a sense of limit when it comes into having all the precautions and safety level. And at the same time, a lot of people do have a kind of sense of fans being, let's say, aside to it. So it's very beautiful to see that the beginning was there and then you restored
Of course,
calisthenic
of course.
itself, which is something very beautiful to be said. So how important do you feel that social media is playing a very impact in raising this kind of awareness when it comes into calisthenics? And do you feel people are really educated? Do you feel people still know the sport, or we're still ongoing?
To be honest with you, with the social media part, I think it's very important. Why it's very important? Because in this world we live in right now, we don't live like, let's say, person to person. All of us are, let's say, most of us live in their phones. People are all the time looking at their phones, all the day looking
We
at
spend
their
a lot of
phone.
time.
So social media has a very big impact on it. Like social media, let's say, you can reach 1 million people in one day, which is something that wasn't here, let's say, since 100 years ago, 200 years ago. So it helps a lot. Like, let's say with the YouTube,
Even like 20 to 30 years ago, it
nothing.
wasn't there.
It was nothing,
It was
actually.
all newspapers and TV. That's it was limited. But nowadays, everyone have their own mobile phones, and they have the information. They can look up whatever they want on social media, YouTube, everywhere.
Everyone has his own platform. So let's say if you want to educate people, you can use YouTube, like I'm doing right now. I started a YouTube channel for calisthenics for basic beginners because of the requests of TikTok lives. I used to do TikTok lives. I'm still doing right now to educate people about calisthenics. So my viewers have requested, like, why don't you do a series on
Yeah.
YouTube? This will help us to progress, to go step by step. I said, why not? Then I started doing it, and people started to benefit for it, actually. Some of them come let's say a year later, they tell me, thank you so much.
Oh, I
I'm
have
doing
seen
the
your
handstand right
videos
now.
and yeah, okay.
Exactly. So it's really inspiring, actually. And it feels good. It feels good to help others.
But
So,
there are some misconceptions about the sport, right?
of
From your
course.
experience, can you tell us what?
Yeah, a lot.
Please.
Like people tell me I have to go to a gym or bodybuilding or CrossFit, then join calisthenics. I have to go to gymnastics, then go to calisthenics. It's like, let's say, you want to play basketball. You want to go train football, right? You have to train basketball to train basketball. The same thing with calisthenics. If you want to get better at calisthenics, you have to go for calisthenics. So this is the most misconception. And also another misconception, which people think that you have to start from a young age, which is very wrong mythology. Because let's say people start at 40s, 50s, 60s, even here in Kuwait they start in 60s. Let's say abroad they start in 70s and 80s and they still get results. So it's all about the mindset. It's all about not just about the mindset, but going from that step by step process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel that it depends also on a person themselves and when they believe in what they're capable of doing. Like again, I have zero beliefs in myself in this sport, so I don't think I would try it. But you never know. This is something very important to have that kind of sense, and of course, responsibility towards yourself and your body. You
Of
don't want to
course.
end up having any kind of injuries when it comes into, of course, trying
True.
to practice a sport. So when it comes into the sport, is there any kind of, let's say, injuries people would like to keep in mind? Like if I practiced by myself without having a coach, looking through videos, let's say to help us more, and could somebody lead to have a certain serious injury in some way or?
To be completely honest with you, depending on who are you watching. If
Yes.
you're watching, let's say, someone who is doing the right step-by-step process, either online coaching or even YouTube, you can get through without injuries. But mostly about injuries, what can we do to prevent injuries? Mostly we can start with the basics, don't rush it, warm up properly, listen to our own body, not just with calisthenics, with any other sport.
Right.
If we go as a step-by-step process and warm up properly, we won't get injured mostly.
Right. Yeah.
Because let's say I go to a workout, I didn't rest yesterday and I slept only 2 hours. This will maybe get me an injury, right?
Right.
So it's very important to go to that step-by-step process. So I believe in that, but it depends on who are you watching.
And I
That's
do
it.
love what you say is listen to yourself, listen to your body. Like sometimes you go to the gym and let's say the coach is telling us to go as higher as we can, but you reach to a point like your body is telling you to stop. So it's always better to listen to your body and to
Of
yourself and
course.
to know when to, let's say, reach to your limits.
Of course, our body always sends us messages when it's tired, when we need to eat, when we need to sleep. But the problem is most of us neglect that.
Right.
Most of us just eat whenever we feel like we want to eat. It's about feelings, not what we actually need
Yeah.
inside. So yes.
Okay, so you shared your experience as when you started, and you're a coach. You told us about the sport itself, but there's one thing very important that you forgot to mention:
Okay.
how you became a coach.
Okay. I became a coach of calisthenics when I started doing that cool stuff that I told about earlier. I started doing that flag, handstand. People said, how can you do it? How can you do it? Then I thought like I was very selfish. Why I thought I was very selfish? Because I had all that knowledge only for myself. So I wanted to spread the knowledge. I want a lot of people to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's why I became a coach. Simply as that.
So
I just wanted to give. To be
all
honest
what
with you.
you were required to have is the skill, the experience, and then you just go ahead and
Of course, and with the right certificates, of course, also.
Yes.
You need to get that.
Yes, indeed. And when it comes into practicing such sport, I'm very sure people are really eager to know more. Like, is this something we do on a daily basis, or people should, let's say, try this once or 3 times a day?
It is mostly, let's say, from 2 to 3 times a week. That's more than enough. More advanced athletes sometimes do it every day. Some people do it every day. But for me, I think it's 2 to 3 times a week.
is more than enough.
Of course. And let's say if you want to do a daily practice, if you want to walk, let's say, if I tell you to walk every day 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer, sorry, will you feel that you're tired? No. If I tell you every day to walk 100 kilometer, you'll feel tired.
Yeah, that's
The same concept with the sport. You can do the stuff that it's like walking for you. Let's say for me, standing on one hand, it's like walking for me. So I do it every day. But the hard exercise, I do it just 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes once a week. So yeah.
Right. And let's go back a little bit. When you mentioned certificates, what kind of certificates, and how can you acquire them through the journey?
There is a lot of certificates. You can get the one for calisthenics, you can get the ISSA strength and conditioning, you can get from Udemy. There's lots of places of certificates. So yeah.
So it takes you take courses, you go through it like face to face, online.
It is online courses. Then you have an online quiz, and you'll have to get through it with the program. And yeah.
Fair. So the people actually, I guess
Of course.
they'll become confident to be clients when they see certificates. I guess this is why this came to my mind. I was
Of
like,
course.
yes, why not?
Because you mostly need the knowledge, and you need it because some people won't, let's say, be safe if you don't have the certificate.
Right.
They need an assurance. So
Yes. So for the future, do you believe this sport is going to be spread in Kuwait and people will start, let's say, to know more about it? And especially if we're talking about a new generation, lots of parents would like their kids from the beginning, let's say from early ages, to actually be more flexible in order for them to enter a field that is very new. So
of
yeah.
course. So with the calisthenics being popular in Kuwait, I believe it's our role as calisthenics coaches and athletes, mostly athletes, because the more we do it, the more we inspire. The more we inspire, the more people want to get into
Right.
it. And more gyms are coming in Kuwait, so that's also very helpful. Like at first, it was very rare to find a calisthenics coach, but now there's everywhere a coach.
What's your future goals?
My future goal, especially in calisthenics, I want to spread it through the whole Arabian Gulf or the whole
Community.
world. Exactly, community. Because let's say in Europe and America, it's already very known, but here in Arabian Gulf or even Arab countries, it's very rare to
Right.
people have calisthenics or have the mindset to start calisthenics. So
But now it's there. It's
Exactly.
happening.
it's happening.
So step by step, everybody will know what's calisthenics. Maybe we have gyms for kids,
Of course.
specifically for them, so that in the summer they have more options.
Of course. Of course.
Definitely. So we hope to see that in the future, and you become one of the greatest coaches out there in Kuwait.
Thank you so much. It's a true pleasure. True pleasure.
And of course, now that we reached the end, we really appreciate you being here with us.
And thank you so much, guys, for your time. I really enjoyed it. And for the next time.
Yeah. All right. So, dear viewers, we will take this quick break before we wrap the episode. Stay with us. All right, and that was Coach Mahmoud Nabil, everyone. He was genuine. He talked to us about his story, how he became a coach, and what is this sport, and who can be and play the sport. So
Right. And I really do believe and actually love what he just mentioned and advice that always listen to your body and understand your limits. So this is something very important is you have to learn to listen to yourself. When is enough is enough. Yeah.
So, yep, that was the end, dear viewers. We hope you enjoyed this one and, got more information about this sport. So, yes, we hope to see you again in another episode of The Untold soon. Stay safe, and we wish to see you again later. Goodbye.